I can see everyone is bustling around their kitchens and getting all of their glasses filled up. Their kitchens are looking nice and clean and ready for this evening. Welcome to the Pick and Pay Winemakers Table. My name is Jonathan Moldan, and I am here with Elunda from Steenberg, and we are going to have a fantastic evening this evening. We've got three incredible and two bubblies, which we're going to be tasting, which is going to be super exciting. I would imagine that everybody has received their box, so thank you very much to Pick and Pay Online for delivering those great cooler bags. Those are reusable cooler bags that you can use again. Inside are all your ingredients, where you're going to be creating three incredible little canapés. We're going to pair them with three wines. You're going to learn how to pair. You're going to learn how to do a little bit of cooking, and it is going to be an incredible evening. All right, so just a few little house rules what we're going to chat about. Make sure that you've got all your utensils ready. You would have received a little letter that has all of your ingredients and all of your utensils that you're going to be needing to cook inside there. So get all of that ready. Please also do keep your cameras on. It really is great for us to see exactly what's going on inside your kitchen. It's also nice for us to interact a little bit with you as well. So keep your cameras on. We can see you. You can see us. And also make sure that you also chat to us as well. The comment box there below, which you are able just to type away, ask any questions that you'd like to answer. We are here to interact with you as well. So we're going to kick off, and thank you. As I said, it's the month of May, the month of Sauvignon Blanc, and obviously Steenberg being one of the pioneers of the Sauvignon Blanc, and we can't wait to taste that. So Elunda, would you like to tell us a little bit about the Steenberg range and a little bit more about Steenberg?
Sure. Thank you, Jono. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight with you and your Pick and Pay viewers in their homes. Lovely, this virtual space of ours, and this great opportunity to share our beautiful wines with you. As mentioned, yes, definitely, I think Sauvignon Blanc is probably the leading varietal for Steenberg, and we do it in many different ways, and we're going to share two very specific Sauvignons with you tonight, one still, one bubbles, and then finishing off the evening, which is quite fun, just to showcase the versatility of our beautiful South African Cup Classiques by finishing off with a little Rosé Cup Classique from Steenberg.
Yeah, that's going to be great. It is going to be very interesting to kind of move our way through a still onto a sparkling Sauvignon Blanc and see the differences there, and also seeing a little bit of a differences in how the food pairs with that as well.
Absolutely. Very exciting.
Good stuff. And so Steenberg, I love the fact that Steenberg, we're looking like micro-local at the moment. We're based in Cape Town, just down the road on the foothills of the Constantia Mountains, and very, very close to the False Bay coast as well.
Yes. I think if we look at Constantia as a wine route, it's quite interesting, and we're very proud to proclaim ourselves to be the oldest wine route in the Southern Hemisphere.
Really?
Did you know that? And I think obviously Steenberg and the original farm, the Groot Constantia farm, date all the way back to the late 1600s. So we have an incredible history and a heritage of wine. And because of our location to the False Bay coastline, Steenberg being 5 kilometers from the Muizenberg beach, we'd like to describe our terroir and our climate as oceanic.
Sure.
And that influence of the ocean, and especially the Cape Doctor that blows in, is incredible to note on the wines. And we're going to touch on that during the evening.
Fantastic. All right, good stuff. Yeah, I mean, I personally absolutely love Steenberg. I love the Constantia route. I also love it because it is really right on our doorstep, and there's so many great farms that form part of that Constantia, the wine route, but specifically Steenberg for me as well. There's just so much to do as well. It's not only the wine farm, but there's also obviously an incredible golf course. There's amazing restaurants, and there's also quite an amazing history when it comes to the fact that it's been the oldest farm in Cape Town.
Yes, when you come and visit the tasting room and do a little bit of a cellar tour with us, then we'll proudly show you the original title deed to the farm, which our first landowner, a German lady by the name of Katharina Ras, received from her neighbor, Simon van der Stel, who, of course, was the governor at the Cape in the late 1600s. And so our title deed dates 1682 and makes us officially the oldest farm in the history of the Cape.
Amazing. And that's an ode to her. I think that there's a restaurant also on the book called Katarina's.
Yes. So there's a lot of reference to Katarina and her legacy, her strength, and just the incredible woman that she was, being courageous. Legend has it traveling to the Cape as a single widowed woman at the age of 19 and just creating a new life for herself here at the most southern tip of Africa and settling on the farm and just leaving a beautiful legacy. So the Trin restaurant is named after Katarina. Train was her nickname.
Okay.
And we have quite a number of the wines also referring to Lady Ras and Katarina's of our flagship red blend.
Sure.
So her spirit lives on.
Amazing. Good stuff. All right. Well, as I mentioned a little bit before, obviously May is Sauvignon Blanc month and my favorite varietal. Absolutely. And we've got an incredible variety here. We're going to probably start off with the still Sauvignon Blanc.
Yes.
Right. So I think that everybody, if you can, obviously just go and make sure that your bottle, I'm sure, has been nicely chilled. And I think we're going to start off with the first one, which is the still Sauvignon Blanc.
Perfect.
All right. So, and I'm sure that people will probably ask, what is the sort of temperature that you should be chilling a Sauvignon Blanc?
Yes. So recommendation says 10 to 12 degrees.
Okay. All right. So nice and chilly. Nicely chilled. Yeah. Look at that. All right. Okay. So what are we looking at here with this Sauvignon Blanc?
So this is our classic blend. I think what's super interesting about Constantia as a wine route is that we're proudly proclaiming ourselves to be the Sauvignon Blanc wine route of the South African wine industry. And I think we're trying to create a very specific style of Sauvignon Blanc that is backed and based on our terroir and our climatic influences. So if we look at all the grape varieties planted in the Constantia route, 60% of that is under Sauvignon Blanc vine. Okay. And if we look at Steenberg specifically, 60% of what we do is Sauvignon Blanc. So this is, we are really serious about Sauvignon. Absolutely. In the bigger picture of Sauvignon Blanc in the world, it's also fun to note that besides Chardonnay, this is the biggest white varietal in the world. I see. So a lot of us enjoy our Sauvis. I certainly do. Yeah, I do. And this is very interesting as well. It's got a very nice sort of straw pale kind of color. It's yeah. So because of our proximity to the ocean and that influence from the southeaster that cools down the vineyards, our Sauvignon lends towards the greener profile, the herbaceous kind of style. So what makes it really nice to pair it with food is that you'll find that when we do the food and wine pairing with the Sauvignon, you'll pick up on some nice lemon zesty, citrusy characteristics in the Sauvignon that works well with the food and makes it a good wine to pair with seafood and fish, where we also like to introduce a little bit of lemon zest. Yeah, absolutely. I think that this classic blend is made up of 23 different blocks of Sauvignon on the farm. So it's all actually from the farm. You don't source any grapes from any other farm. All from the farm, proudly proclaimed by the Constantia embossing on the bottle. Amazing. Because we're such a small wine route in Constantia with 9 members, it's really nice for us to also present our wines in the same bottle. Okay. And so with promoting Steenberg, we're also promoting Constantia as a wine route. And as winemakers in the route, we regularly get together. And because of our similar climate, it's easy for us to kind of align ourselves to the same style of Sauvignon Blanc. All right. I'm going to taste it. And that's obviously on the nose. It is, what are we looking at here on the nose? It's very fresh. Yes. Fresh, nice, limey, citrusy, zesty, little bit of gooseberry, those greener, herbaceous, little bit of nettles and fynbos maybe. Yeah, absolutely. Some herbaceousness. Yes, yeah. Very much the style that of Sauvignon that we do on the farm. And what we try with vineyard manipulations between the 23 different blocks that end up in the blend is to try and express all the different characteristics that is known to be Sauvignon Blanc, that we all love about Sauvignon Blanc. So a little bit of everything into a nice, friendly blend.
Lovely. Really is good. All right, great. So now we're going to start getting into the kitchen. We're going to start making a few little bits and pieces and really start playing around with some. And so what I want you guys to do, I'm pretty sure there's probably 2 or 4 of you guys there. We are going to make sure that we got everything ready. And so when we get everything ready in the kitchen, we always talk about mise en place as some chefs. We have prepared a lot of the stuff for you, so you don't have to do too much work, but it really is about sort of building flavors and pairing flavors. So the first canapé that what we're going to do is we're going to pair it with a whipped camembert and toasted walnut, little puff pastry shard like this. It's a little puff pastry straw. We've got some toasted walnuts. We've also got a little tub of some gooseberry chutney, and we've also got a fresh lemon. It really is very, very simple, but when we put it all together, you'll see all of these flavors coming together, and you'll be able to see exactly why we thought that this would work particularly well with the Sauvignon Blanc. All right, so very, very simple. You guys have also been given a nice little presentation board, which you can plate all of your canapes on. We would love to see what you guys are doing. Everyone can come up with a different creative way to create their canapes, and we would love to see what you guys are doing at home. You also will stand a chance of winning one of 300 Rands worth of Smart Shopper points if you take a beautiful photo of your dish and post it to the social media, wherever social media is. You can do it on Instagram, and you can use the hashtag PNP Wine Club as well as the hashtag PNP hashtag Steenberg as well. So post those to social media, and you have a chance. If you don't have social media, you don't do that, please ask us some questions. Any great questions also stand a chance of winning one of those 300 Rands worth of Smart Shopper points. Okay, so we're going to start getting into the kitchen. Very, very simple. We've created this for you at home. I'll tell you exactly how to do this. Very, very simple. What this is a cheese straw. So the cheese straw, normally very, very simple. It's puff pastry that has been rolled up and given a little bit of an extra zing or whatever you want to do with it. Normally some Parmesan, a little bit of paprika, whatever like that. But what we've done is we've actually got some camembert cheese and we've whipped up that camembert cheese. So literally, we've just taken off the rinds, we've whipped it up into a little bowl so it becomes nice and smooth. We've also just turned a little bit of some nuts in there, and I think the walnuts work particularly well. And all you do is you lay a little strip, you put the camembert cream on top with the walnuts, you twist it around, and you bake it in your oven at about 180 degrees for about 7 minutes or so. Very, very simple. You can do these ahead of time if you are having a canapé party, or you're having a dinner party. Make them in advance. They will be fantastic with any sort of little dish that you want to put together. All right, so very, very simple. We're going to start adding a few little flavors onto it. What you can do is you can get your little tub of gooseberry chutney, also something that can be made very, very quickly at home. We've just taken some gooseberries, which you can buy in the fresh section of Pick and Pay, and you put them into a pot with a little bit of sugar, a little bit of lemon juice, and you cook that down until it becomes nice and thick, and you literally can preserve it like that. Very, very simple. So what we'll do is we'll just place a few little dollops of these just around it. It's like a nice little chutney. This also works particularly well with some cheese, a little bit of charcuterie as well. So I'm just going to place a couple of dollops on there, 1, 2, or 3. And it's always nice to do uneven numbers, but it's also nice to make sure that each mouthful will be able to get a nice little dollop of that fruity chutney over the top. All right, so very, very simple. Then all we're going to do is we're going to get our little bag here, which has got some crushed walnuts as well. Gives a little bit of a crunch, gives a little bit of a nuttiness. I'm just going to place these on top of my chutney. There we go. Just to make it stick quite nicely on top of that. Very, very simple. There we go. And then to end it off and to give everything a little bit of a freshness, we've got some lemon zest. And there's a big difference in my mind between lemon juice and lemon zest. Lemon juice obviously got very high acidity. Sometimes it's a little bit overpowering. But for me, the lemon zest really is about freshness. It's all about bringing out that like really great aroma without actually changing the taste too much of it. Just gives it that upliftment of a citrus kind of zestiness. So I've got this really nice little grater. You can use a normal grater. This is called a microplane. It's one of the chef's favorite little tools. It's just a very fine grater, and I'm going to grate this over the top and just a little bit to give it a really nice fresh taste. All right, so I'm sure that everybody has probably doing it at their own pace. I'm going to let you guys catch up. You can see on the camera exactly what I've done, but I'm pretty sure that you've done any way that you'd like to do it. You have your own creativity, and at the time, I'm going to have another sip, and let's have another taste of our Sauvignon Blanc.
I see lots of zesting happening in the background.
I can see that too. There's a lot of zesting going on and a lot of drinking. Well done. This is absolutely delicious. And really, I think that the reason why we chose to do this dish is that it kind of speaks to a couple of those elements of the Sauvignon Blanc. The gooseberry notes on the nose.
Definitely.
A really nice, fresh zestiness of the lemon and the citrus notes. Not too overly tropical, I'd say. This isn't really a tropical Sauvignon Blanc. It's much more of a sort of mineral, kind of acidic, not acidic, but kind of zesty and lively, I'd say.
Definitely, definitely. And also because of the climate, usually the acidity comes through quite strong as one of the big characteristics. And I think that's that lends itself to the style of Sauvignon that the Constantia Wine Root's trying to make, where we're trying to educate people in understanding that Sauvignon Blanc as a white wine is not just to be made and enjoyed in the same year, but that it has length and ageability. So yes. Style tends to be a little bit more mature, elegant with complexity and layering on the mouthfeel and the finish, less about super explosive tropical, and more about elegance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, well, I'm going to hand this over to you to do the tasting. I hope everyone is caught up and has got to a point where they're able to take a little bit of a sip and take a bite as well of our little cheese twirl with some zesty lemon. So have a sip first. Coat your mouth in the Sauvignon Blanc, really sort of taste that, then take a bite of that canapé and then move that around in your mouth and then have another sip afterwards. And there's often kind of, it changes a little bit, the wine changes, it gives you a little bit of a different perception. It kind of opens things up a little bit. What do you think?
Absolutely. What's super interesting is how beautiful the gooseberry and the lemon zest works with the acidity of the wine. Beautiful.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. But it is, as I said, it's all about experimenting with you guys as well. It's all about trying new things. If they aren't very, very hard rules when it comes to food pairing and wine pairing, it's just what things would balance each other out, what things would stand up to each other. You know, I think that when you're looking at something with quite high acidity, it's also nice to sometimes pair it with something with quite a high acidity, so they balance themselves out, and you wouldn't lose the wine if you have something which is too acidic, and vice versa. So you need something that's kind of going to join in the middle. And then sometimes you also contrasts work as well.
Absolutely.
If something is quite high in acidity, it's all nice to have something maybe a little bit smoother, a little bit creamier to kind of cut through those things as well, which we'll see in the next canapé.
I feel like the camembert and the walnut actually helps to break and add creaminess to the acidity, but it still keeps the finish fresh. But that gooseberry match, that's quite special.
Amazing. All right, good stuff, guys. I hope that you enjoyed that one as well. Please do put any comments or any questions to myself or Elunda as well. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd also love to see what you guys have also created. So please do use those hashtags PNP Wine Club and hashtag Steenberg. We'd love to see what you guys are doing there as well. All right, good stuff. So we've done one, and very interesting, as you said. Now we are talking about Sauvignon Blancs, and now something quite different, but something that I certainly have a lot in my cupboard, a lot on my wine rack, is the Steenberg Sparkling Sauvignon Blanc.
Yes. So remember, I mentioned that Steenberg is the leading varietal on the Steenberg farm, Sauvignon Blanc. And so I guess this is our fresh, fun and fruity version of Sauvignon. And I feel like everything with bubbles in it just elevates the occasion, right?
100%.
Makes us want to celebrate. And especially in the world that we're living in post-COVID, we are seeing, and the stats are telling us, that people are loving bubbly, anything sparkling. And that's wonderful. So
it really is.
It's definitely a growing category, and we're very proud of the following that we have with the Steenberg Sparkling Sauvignon.
Yeah, I mean, it is from what my experience, it is that kind of Sauvignon Blanc, the sparkling Sauvignon Blanc that you literally, on a hot day, you can pop a bottle open, sit in a tree, and that thing would be gone in 40 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. I think previously, if we look at the way that people used to enjoy French champagne and maybe South African Cup Classiques, was that you would celebrate something specifically. You would go out and purchase some sparkling wine because you had a special occasion.
Yeah.
I think post-COVID, we're trying to say that every day that we navigate and survive successfully is a reason to open a bottle of bubbly and celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that could be a Monday all the way through to a Sunday, morning to evening. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. It's a massively growing category. And obviously, Steenberg really being at the forefront of that and been doing it for many, many years. You've really crafted some incredible wine. So you're doing an amazing job.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
All right, good stuff. So should we grab the bottle of the Sauvignon Blanc? Make sure that I'm sure that this is also very, very important, that this is also chilled. And while you are doing that, I just want to let you guys know that now is the time that you are going to be needing to get your pans on to your stove. Make sure that you've got a frying pan, a little bit of olive oil if need be. We've also given you a little bit of butter, which you are going to be toasting and making a little bit of an aubergine in that pan. So make sure you got those pans, get them to a medium heat, and we'll get there once we do the next canapé. But make sure you got all of that ready. Your pans are getting hot while we are pouring this. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. A little bit of, look at those bubbles. Really, really, really great. That is, and there is obviously when this is a sparkling wine. It's not a MCC.
Yes.
This is a sparkling wine. Sauvignon Blanc. Characteristics difference between the still and the sparkling is quite different, eh?
Yeah.
It's same Sauvignon Blanc grapes. What are the differences?
Okay, so I think with the methods in terms of the classic Sauvignon Blanc blend, those grapes are usually from the older, more mature vineyards.
Okay.
And are usually harvested at a slightly higher sparkling.
Okay.
So for the sparkling Sauvignon, we try and use the younger vineyards.
Okay.
And we harvest the grapes a little earlier because the base wine for sparkling wine needs to be a little lower in alcohol.
I see. I didn't know that.
The sugar level in the grapes is directly linked to the alcohol level at the end when the fermentation's finished.
Sure.
So we harvest the grapes a little earlier, a little greener,
yes,
little lower alcohol after the alcoholic fermentation. And what's quite unique about the Steenberg Sparkling Sauvignon Blanc is that we use the traditional French champagne method, same method that's used to make Cup Classique, but it's not a Cup Classique because we don't mature it in the bottle as long as, per definition, you should for a normal Cup Classique.
Now that's something I didn't know.
Yes.
I really did not know that. So literally this is bottle fermented.
Yes, exactly. So first alcoholic fermentation from grape juice to wine is in tank, and then the wine's bottled for the second fermentation in the bottle, as with a Cup Classique and a champagne. And then the only difference is that we want to preserve the freshness,
yes,
the fruit profile of the Sauvignon. We want to celebrate Sauvignon.
100%.
And so we keep it on the lees for a couple of months, and then it's prepped and ready and disgorged and sent into market fresh.
That's actually amazing. I really didn't know that. I actually thought that it was a traditional sparkling carbonated wine. not at all.
Nope.
And that's probably why when I was looking at this,
Yep.
you'll see actually that the bubbles are very, very fine.
Very fine mousse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that comes from that bottle fermentation. It's not just carbonated Sauvignon Blanc.
So I think that's something that really our South African consumers need to appreciate and celebrate when they enjoy bottle fermented sparkling wines, because every single bottle you purchase off shelf was a little fermentation vessel of its own.
Exactly.
And the fact that it turns out tasting exquisite is an absolute miracle and something we should be celebrating.
Absolutely. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Absolutely. Guys, really enjoy this as well. This really is, as I said, it's one of my absolute favorites. Something we always have in our house. My wife absolutely goes boggy for it. And it is actually incredible. It really is. Really nice, fresh, tasty, lively. It does have a little bit of tropical notes to this one here.
Yes, definitely. More so than the classic brand.
Yes.
And I think especially with bubbles just elevates and celebrates and adds to the aroma experience, especially in this kind of glass where you could really stick your nose in it.
Absolutely. All right, great stuff, guys. Really enjoy that. Make sure that you carry on drinking that. And while we're doing that, it's time to also get back into the kitchen. We are going to be creating our second canapé, and very, very interesting one. We are going to be getting a little bit more hands-on one. The first one was quite simple, couple of 1, 2, 3 steps. This is actually going to get you guys into the kitchen. So as I said, make sure that your pans are getting hot. I'd say just to a medium heat. I've got mine at like level 4, between 4 of 10. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to start building this little roulade. Quite a few different ingredients. Very, very interesting. We've got these beautiful little aubergines. Super cute. They are part of the crafted collection range at Pick n Pay. Beautiful, tiny little aubergines. Very cool. And we've got some bresaola. And this bresaola is an Italian cured beef. Also available at Pick. And it's a cured meat. It's got quite a nice sort of minerality. It's got quite a nice saltiness. We've got a little bit of whipped feta. Some sun-dried tomatoes, some balsamic. We've even got some nuts to top it off with. So we're going to start doing this. So first things first, I want you guys to have a look. If you can see here, you've got your little aubergines. And what I want you to do is I just want you to cut the end off. There we go. Turn it around. Cut the other end off just like that. There we are. All right. Now we're going to make some slices. Turn it lengthways, exactly like that. And you're going to do a few little slices down the center. There we are. That's one. And not too thick. I would say probably about half a centimeter thick, maybe even a little bit less. There we are. And another one. And I'm going to turn it on the side. And I'm going to do another one just like that. All right. So I would say about that thick, if you can see. There we go. Beautiful little aubergines, really, really cute. Pop them into curries, fry them off. They're really, really great. Okay, so you got your pan on, you got your aubergines. A lot of people say that you should salt your aubergines that you before, but these are so small and there's not a huge amount of water in these ones, so you don't actually need to extract too much of a water. So you don't really need to do that with these. And also when we're putting it together, our canapé, we've got a nice amount of saltiness with that bresaola as well. Right. Okay, so I put a little bit of olive oil into my pan. You can certainly use olive oil if you want. You can use a bit of, I might do a little bit with some both. I might use a little bit of olive oil and some butter. And I'm just going to pop that into the pan. There we go. A little bit of olive oil, a little bit of butter. And I'm going to start frying off my aubergine. All right. I think the thinner, the little bit better. One of mine is a little bit thick, so I'm just going to shave off the top of it and make sure that it is the same thickness as I showed you before. I'd say about 3 millimeters thick. Okay. All right. I'm going to pop that into the pan. You can put quite a lot of oil actually into the pan. Surprisingly enough, when a lot of people, when you cook aubergine, it does seem to draw up a lot of that fat.
Absolutely.
But then weirdly enough, at the end, once that's being cooked, the oil actually sometimes just extracts from it. So you see, oh my goodness, my aubergine is just getting completely saturated with oil. But if you carry on cooking like that, it actually seeps out at the end. And you don't actually
Amazing.
have a hugely fatty one. So pop that into your pan. You can see that over there. It's inside the pan. It's just frying very lightly. You don't want it to burn it. You just want to keep that nicely frying off. Okay. All right. So pop that in there. And then we've got different elements, obviously, to this dish. And as I said, we've got the bresaola, which in my mind adds a nice minerality. We've got some really nice whipped feta cheese. And that whipped feta has got some lemon and some herb in it as well. So a little bit of thyme, a little bit of lemon zest as well. I think it would add quite a nice sort of complexity to the dish as well. And then, do you remember what we were saying also about acidity and how acidity works quite well with a Sauvignon Blanc?
Yes.
That's why we've gone with these sun-dried tomatoes, because I think that the acidity of the Sauvignon Blanc would work quite well and would pair quite well with that tomato, because I think both of them would stand up quite nicely to each other.
Absolutely. Tomato-based meals can be quite tricky to pair. And definitely, also, I want to mention that with soft cheeses,
yes,
not the smelly ones, but soft cheeses like the camembert that we used earlier, and vegetables in vegetarian meal pairings, Sauvignon Blanc is a safe bet, always.
It's a safe bet.
Yeah.
It's quite a versatile wine, actually, to pair. A lot of people think that it always needs to be only with something which is very, very, very fresh. But as you said, with something like a soft cheese, it kind of breaks through that creaminess of the cheese. Goat cheese, I think, works particularly well.
Yes.
It cuts through that creaminess of that goat cheese, and it works particularly well. All right, so it should be in your pan. You should be seeing a little bit of color at the moment. I'm just going to get this and just turn it over and see if I'm getting some color. Not yet. I'm going to turn mine up ever so slightly. You've got a bit of time. Hopefully you guys are taking some photos, not only of your final dishes, but we'd love to see how things are cooking in the kitchen. Let's see some chef hats. Let's see all your sous chefs working very well. I can see you got one guy's got a full-on table set up between this, doing a nice little formal dinner. It's fantastic to see everyone there. Please do keep your cameras on, and we really are celebrating with you as well. So cheers, everybody. While you're cooking, raise your glass, have another little sip of this beautiful sparkling Sauvignon Blanc. There we go. Cheers to everybody. Fantastic. All right, so it should have almost browned and caramelized nicely on one side. I'm just turning mine over. There we go, getting a nice golden color. You don't want to burn it, but you also don't want to have it too uncooked. Mine are looking good on the one side.
Beautiful.
Do you like cooking at home?
I like drinking at home. Not so much cooking.
Not so much cooking.
But I've got a wonderful husband who loves cooking. So
match made in heaven.
Match made in heaven.
Amazing. All right, good stuff. Cool. So I'm going to take mine out just shortly. I'm pretty sure that your guys maybe still are cooking a little bit. I'm going to take mine off and just pop it onto the board. You'll see that actually what's happened exactly that is that the oil has slightly come out of it, and it actually isn't looking like it really is completely covered in oil. All right. So I'm going to pop mine down over there. 1, 3, 4. There we go. Got another one over there. I'm just going to turn that off. All right. So while that is cooling off as well, I think that as I said, that the difference between something that which we tasted before and tasted now is really is quite different, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we enjoy the versatility of Sauvignon Blanc. I think in winemaking terms, it can be one of the more challenging grape varieties. I think with the Chardonnay, it's a little easier because there it's about wood expression and barrel fermentation. So you have the oak and the oak's influence. But with Sauvignon Blanc, especially in a beautiful terroir, there's it's so versatile. There's so many different ways to express the varietal that for us, it's really fun to show people the many styles, the many faces of Sauvignon. And as we mentioned, especially in the month of May, The first Friday of May is International Sauvignon Blanc Day, so celebrated internationally. And although this evening is a little chilly and a little wintry in Cape Town, it's an odd time of the year for the Southern Hemisphere to celebrate Sauvignon, but of course, it's always summer somewhere in the world.
Absolutely.
So it's a wonderful opportunity for us to just talk Sauvignon Blanc during the month of May.
Amazing. All right, good stuff. Cool. So we're going to start rolling. Hopefully everyone is caught up a little bit. I'm going to move my glass there so you can see exactly what I'm doing. We're going to be creating a little roulade, or what you call a little roll-up. So very, very simple. You've got two beautiful pieces of really lovely Brezola over here. And what you're going to do, you've got three actually in here. Lovely. You can taste a little one of that while we're doing that. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to place this onto your board, just like this. All right, if you can see. And what I'm going to do is I am going to slice this down the middle, just in half. So just like that, lengthways. So you end up with two even little bits like that. All right, 1, 2. And the same thing with the other, right down the center there. So you end up with two strips. All right. Can you see? All following? Marvelous. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is we're going to have our, there we go. This is our tomato, the sun-dried tomato. I'm also going to slice that in half as well, just to be able to roll that. So also in two little halves, just like that. The other one also just in half. You don't want it to be too big because we are going to be rolling this up into our center. So we've got different components here. We've got our sun-dried tomato, we've got our aubergine, and we've got our Brezola. All right, so if we are all ready to roll, give me some thumbs up at home. We're all ready to rock and roll. Are you all ready to roll? Getting some thumbs up? Lovely. Okay. So this is the other element which I thought would work particularly well with the Sauvignon Blanc is our feta. So the whipped feta, nice and creamy, gives it a little bit of a zestiness as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place this, if we all can follow, a nice line just down one side. All right. And that's going to act as a bit of a glue. And it's also going to create a really nice mouthfeel. All right. Just down the center. So 3/4 of the way there. There we go. Right down the center there. Okay. Is everyone following? Everyone can see what I'm doing? Just down the center. Okay. Now we're going to start topping it with a little bit of our aubergine. There we are. That should have cooled off quite. Aubergine on top. All right. Last but not least, a little bit of our sun-dried tomato. A little bit of our sun-dried tomato. Another one. I'm going to cut mine in half. It's a little bit big. There we go. And another one on top. Okay, so following, everybody, thumbs up. Thumbs up, good. We're good. Amazing. Okay, perfect. Now it's time to roll. We're going to roll these up. So literally starting off on the one side. I'll start at the top so you can see. Starting on the one side there, we're going to roll this up. Just in a little bit of ball. 1, 2, 3. There we go. If you do need a skewer, we have given you a little skewer so it doesn't fall apart. You can skewer it just like that. Pop that on the board just like that. Or if you are feeling brave, you don't need to use the skewer. You can just roll it up and place it on the board. There we go. 1, 2, 3 little canapé. And roll up the next one. Obviously leaving the end bit with on the far side as your last little tail. So that's going to keep that together. And then the last one, same little thing like that. And we all roll it up. Okay, so we've got a little Brezola roll that's stuffed with a little bit of aubergine. It's got some sun-dried tomatoes, some whipped feta, and it's still not over yet. There's still more components to come here, and this is all adding to the amazing little flavor. You'll see you've got a tiny little piping bag over here, and that is going to be with a little bit of some reduced balsamic vinegar, slight sweetness, nice zinginess, right on top. There we go, all on top. And then to end it all off, a tiny bit of some nuts. And I always love adding a few little nuts to things. It kind of just gives it a little bit of a crunch, gives it a little bit of added extra things. I'm going to add that right on top, just as a scatter. It might sound a little bit funny and a little bit poncy, a little chefy, but it always adds a little something nice to it as well. I'm going to add that right on top. So many different flavors there, but components. And I personally think it works particularly well. And I think that what we've done is we've added, number one, I think we've added a creaminess for the Sauvignon Blanc to kind of cut through. We've added a nice acidity, which I think the acidity works particularly well with the balancing of that. The minerality and the saltiness of the Brezola we've chosen because I think that what will happen is that there is that slight minerality of the Sauvignon Blanc, as we spoke to you about before, of that false bay,
Yes.
the terroir of the region kind of speaks to that. So hopefully it works. This is what it works in my mind. It might not work in your mind, but let's give it a try. And I'm going to hand it over to you to give that a whirl. And while we're doing that, please, as I said, do take some photos. I can see you guys are working particularly well in the kitchen today. You guys are giving some, doing really, really well. I'm loving seeing what you guys are doing. Please do take some photos. Use those hashtags, P&P Wine Club, as well as the hashtag Steenberg to post your pictures and ask any questions you'd like to. We'd love to hear from you. Another nice sip. See how that works.
Delicious. It's delicious. Also find that the balsamic adds a little bit of umami and beautifully balances the acidity. I think a great food and wine pairing makes the wine and the food better. Kind of elevates the whole experience and just makes everything a little bit more memorable than a mediocre food and wine pairing. And when you know that all these taste flavors and the acidity blends well, sits well in your mouth, you know that it's a successful pairing.
Good.
So nothing's fighting, and the acidity and the food pairing is just kind of celebrating each other in your mouth.
That's
beautiful.
Really great. Good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and hopefully you enjoyed it too. Lots of different elements. I hope that some new flavors and new experiences for you guys as well. Great bubbly. And I think that hopefully that you enjoyed that too. Now, I think what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the third wine, which is also very, very interesting because now we're kind of talking about something completely different. Now we're talking about a real MCC, something that has been obviously bottle fermented, kept on the lease, matured slightly longer. And obviously, not only that, but we're talking about a different grape varietal.
Yes, absolutely. I've been privileged to have dedicated almost 12 years of my winemaking career specializing in sparkling wines and more so in Cap Classique. And I've always also been privileged to be able to visit Champagne, so the province of Champagne in France, where kind of they're the only ones allowed to refer to their bubbly as Champagne. So our local products are definitely not Champagne. But what's wonderful is that about 52 years ago, a group of like-minded winemakers from the Stellenbosch region got together and decided that they wanted to start making South African sparkling wine using the French Champagne method. And they wanted to make sure that they created a proudly South African product and a proudly South African naming for the product that no one else is allowed to use. And so the Cap Classique Association and the 14 original members created the terminology method Cap Classique. Today, we just refer to Cap Classique. And it means that it is South African, Cape Town, born and bred, bottle fermented sparkling wines. And I have to add that because of you guys, mostly because of COVID and the fact that we couldn't get our hands on as much of the French champagne as before COVID, you guys have really come out in huge support for the Cup Classique category. And we have, seen exponential growth in sales, both in South Africa, but also on the international export markets. And it means that people are loving it. And we only have you guys to thank for that.
Yeah, I mean, it is incredible to see the growth within the category. And as we all said, like Steenberg, it really is at that forefront. I know that you not only do the rosé, but you also do the Chardonnay, which is really it's a stalwart for the MCC brand itself.
Yeah, I think bottle fermented sparkling wine is probably in terms of winemaking the most technical style of winemaking, but it is definitely hugely rewarding to know that people love and enjoy your product and that it puts a smile on everyone's dial.
Everyone.
I have to tell you that as a winemaker, I've seen people come to our tasting room and celebrate the oddest things, like getting divorced. And,
is that a celebration?
Well, each to his own.
Each to their own.
Whatever it is that you feel you need some bubbles for, I'm
it's there for you.
For it.
It's there for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
So this is also a beautiful color, really, really lovely salmon pink, very, very fine bubbles.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that this first of all, on the nose, we're looking at very, very some raspberries.
Yes. So once again, that's why I think this is probably one of our favorite Cup Classiques to pair with a dessert.
Yes.
I know that it's a rainy day and I know that we're going into autumn, but it's such a beautiful color, and we eat and drink and enjoy luxury products by also looking at it. And so visually, things that match in color just look beautiful on the plate and go down deliciously.
It's true. Hey? Yeah. It really is true.
So this Cup Classique is 100% pure Pinot Noir grapes. And Pinot Noir is all about red berry fruit.
Sure.
And the raspberries, the lighter red berries. And I think that's why it's going to pair so deliciously and why it works with lighter style at the end of an evening, instead of having a sweet, sticky, heavy alcohol dessert wine with a heavy dessert. This ends the evening on a lighter note. It leaves the stomach a little lighter and lifts the spirit for continuing the Kuier.
Exactly. And it's interesting because it is obviously very versatile as well, because it not only needs to be paired with something sweet or something more dessert, but it can also be paired across the board from starters to even main course and dessert, which really makes it a very, very versatile wine.
Yes. Some of the most fun that I've had as a winemaker in my career is showing consumers how incredibly versatile the category of Cup Classique is. Going from very brut Chardonnay based and how that pairs to the rosé with the fresh red berry fruit expressions, and then moving into demi-sec, a little bit more semi-sweet, and how that can beautifully pair with your curries and your Asian dishes.
Absolutely.
So much fun.
Absolutely. All right, good stuff. So we are on to our last little dessert canapé, little dessert, should we say. We've got a really nice, very, very fun little something to do. What we've got is a really nice little sponge cake, little cupcake, very, very simple. And what we want to do is we want to just kind of elevate this slightly. So what we're going to do is just place that onto your board. And what we want to do is we want to just take out the center ever so slightly. So if you have a knife, or if you even have a little teaspoon will work perfectly well. What I want you to do is just make a little cavern middle. So small little insert around the middle, because we're going to fill this up. So I'm just going to take a small little bit of that out, There we are. If you want to pinch that together just to hold it together. There we are. We're going to make basically with a really nice tart-ish, I would say, little raspberry coulis. So simple raspberry coulis. You'll find in your same little box over there, you've got this small little piping bag of raspberry coulis. Very, very simple. All that you need to do is just get some frozen raspberries, or if you're in the middle of summer, some fresh raspberries, put that into a pan, small amount of sugar, a little bit of lemon juice, and you cook that down, give it a whiz with a blender, and make a really nice fine little coulis. If you want to cook it further down and make it thicker, you can make a jam. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the end off the piping bag. There we are. And we've made our little center well inside our cupcake. And I'm just going to fill this up to make a really nice one. There we are. I need to make my hole a little bit bigger there. There we go. And I'm just going to fill that little well up with a little bit of tart raspberry coulis right in the middle. And then if you haven't butchered it slightly like I have, you can literally pop that back on as a little bit of a top. And inside there is a little surprise waiting for you when you basically bite into that. Okay, so we got that. We've filled it up. And now what we want to do is we want to disguise my butchering. And we want to pop a little bit of this buttercream. Very, very simple buttercream, icing sugar, butter, literally just whisk that up together until it's a light little mousse. And I'm going to pipe, either what you can do is you can take this and you can squeeze it out right into the center to make one big dollop. You can do a few little dollops around, or you can pipe around in circles. I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's just see how this works out. I'm going to take it, and there we are. Make it a little bit bigger. And I'm just going to pipe a nice little circle around, put it down, another one around there, another one around there, just making a little bit of a, there we go, another one there, a little bit of a rose, should we say? Perfect. Look at that. Okay, nice little bit of the buttercream icing. It's almost like a little bit of a rose, almost. Okay, turn that around, show you my little masterpiece. Inside there is your raspberry coulis. Okay, and then what we've done is we've also got some strawberry, which we've dehydrated. So very, very simple. Strawberries into a dehydrator or into your oven at about, I'd say about 100 degrees maximum into your oven. They become nice little kind of chewy little crisps. And we're going to place that over there. 1, 2, or 3, maybe 4, 5 around onto the top of your cupcake. And it also gives it a little bit of tartness. These aren't actually particularly sweet. They give a nice sort of bite of some tartness. There we are. And then finally, we've got something which is just to give it a little bit of a zest. Doesn't add too much flavor. Gives it a little bit of a crunch. A few little poppy seeds. So a few little poppy seeds on top into your hand. And literally a little drizzle of that on top. Just more for aesthetics than anything else, as well as a nice kind of mouthfeel of those popping poppy seeds. So there we go. There is your last little canapé or dessert option. Please do take a photo. Maybe yours looks a little bit better than mine. Probably does. I'd love to see that, and use the hashtag, guys. Please, you can stand a chance of winning 300 Rands worth of Smart Shopper points, which we are going to announce pretty shortly, of those winners of the competition. And I'm going to hand this over to you and to have a little soupçon, a little try of that. And while you do that, I'm going to enjoy another sip of this beautiful Pinot Noir rosé.
I think what's super interesting about the food pairing again is if we look at the kind of descriptors that we use for Cup Classique, and especially for the Pinot, it's about the raspberries and the strawberries, the creaminess, the butteriness of the time on lease that a Cup Classique needs to spend prior to going into the market. The little cupcake, it's about the brioche. Yes. So the baked bread.
You often get those notes with often that brioche kind of toastiness as well, which I think hopefully will come out nicely.
Oh, that little filling in the center, delicious.
It gives it a little bit of a tartness as well, so it kind of breaks through a little bit of the sweetness of the cupcake, and it kind of fights a little bit against that sweetness, but it offsets it quite nicely, which I think works
definitely
quite well.
Also works really nice with the acidity, and again, it's a fresher way to end an evening and fun.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what bubbles is really all about, and especially as you said, it's quite funny when you think about what you see and what you eat. You know, when it comes to a pink bubbles, it is, you know, sometimes you think that when you look at something that's also pink and something that's pink, often like smoked salmon would work quite nicely with it, because it's visual combination and the familiarity between the two.
Absolutely, or a fresh green summer salad with a dash of red beetroot or some strawberries or some watermelon.
That's it.
Beautiful.
Lovely. All right, we've got a question. Is Steenberg open for tastings this Saturday?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Steenberg welcomes guests to the farm 7 days a week. Although I would recommend always that people try and book for the restaurants, both Bistro 1682 and Trin and the tasting room, so that we know that you're coming and we can roll out the red carpet.
Absolutely. So I also heard that you do an incredible tasting sometimes down in the cellar, a wine pairing with some cheeses as well.
Yes, absolutely. And we have a magnificent wine club at Steenberg that offer you a lot of privileges all over the farm. Remember that we're not just the wine estate, but we also have the boutique hotel, spa, the 2 restaurants, and the golf estate. So definitely some nice perks. And one of those is that you and your best friend, 9 best friends, can come join us for something special.
That's a good thing to do. And I was actually talking to some friends about it this last weekend who went, and they said it's an absolute deal. Why does not more people do it? And so I think that's a very good shout out to tell people, get part of the Steenberg Wine Club.
Yep.
Not only the Steenberg Wine Club, but the Pick and Pay Wine Club. And I can tell you, if you're talking about perks, you guys have been treated not only to 3 incredible wines, hopefully some really nice food, but also if you check inside your bag, you will find a voucher, not only 1 voucher, but 2 vouchers. One of them is 100 Rand worth off any wines that you'd like to buy online. Please use the code Steenberg100 on checkout, and that is for online. And not only that, but you'll also receive 25% off any of these 3 wines as well until the end of May. So please do go online. Please do go and purchase this wine. We'd love to see that happening. And we do have some winners. Not only do we have winners, but we've got these winners that are going to be winning 300 Rands worth of Smart Shopper points. Congratulations. We got 3 of them. Number 1, we have Tanya Thomas. Congratulations. 300 Rands worth of Smart Shopper points will be loaded onto your Smart Shopper card. Patricia Draper and Michelle van der Vijver as well. Congratulations, guys. Well done. I'm sure that your creations were really, really exquisite, and we really enjoyed seeing you guys as well. So it has been a fun night, and thank you so much, Elunda. It has been an absolute pleasure, not only to taste your beautiful wines, but also to chat to you this evening.
Thank you so much, guys. Super fun.
Really is fun. So please, guys, please join us again. We have had an incredible evening with you this evening. We do have more on its way, and hopefully that you will be able to join us next month for another Winemakers Table. And the next month, please look out for any of those emails that do come into your inbox. You got to be pretty fast to get onto it. We know that they sell out particularly fast as well. So hopefully that you enjoyed it, and hopefully we saw some of you also at the Pick and Pay Wine Festival last weekend at Kenilworth Racecourse. We do have 2 more events coming up: the Pick and Pay Wine Festival in Durban, as well as the Pick and Pay Wine Festival in Johannesburg. The Durban one's happening on the 19th of August in Durban, and I think the 23rd and 24th of September in Johannesburg as well. So I hope to see you there soon. Thank you very much, Steenberg. Thank you very much to the Pick and Pay Wine Club. Thank you to Pick and Pay Online also for delivering all of those boxes to your houses. And thank you all for joining us for an incredible session. And I wish you a very happy Thursday. Good night.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I guess everyone's trying to say something, but no one's listening. Bye-bye. Ciao, bye. Ciao, bye. Buonasera. I think some of them had us.
Bye, Pet.
I think some of us had us. Some of them had us.
Yeah. Bye, Donald.
They're muted. They know everyone's lost. No one's listening.